Okay, we're jumping directly into module 1 and we're getting started right off the bat with an exercise. So the goal of this is to connect your expertise to pain that you've already personally overcome, because just kind of like you want to write about things that you know and are familiar with, you want to help with solutions that you are not only an expert of, but things that you've overcome personally. And so this gets really great. So have your journal ready. If you don't have a journal, then pause the video and go get a book that you can write in and get a journal ready. And then reflect on these questions. Answer these. You're going to brainstorm pain points that you have been through personally that you have overcome. And you're going to journal about your deepest struggles, the most significant challenges that you've had to overcome, and especially highlight the ones that are in your area of expertise. And you're going to start narrowing them down. Like, I want you to brainstorm as many as you can possibly think of, and then narrow them down to maybe the 5 most significant, most intense ones that were the biggest struggle that you really had to exert a lot of effort to overcome. And then we're going to look at the hidden layers. So for each of those ones that you've narrowed down to, between 3 and 5, ideally, that were really big, intense struggles, look for these hidden layers. What the surface level problem was that everybody could see, what the feeling internally was around that problem, and how that struggle threatened your identity or your self-worth, who it made you feel like you were. And don't let this be triggering. This is insightful. You're looking for insights, because you're going to notice that those things that you went through are the things that your ideal audience is going through. Those are the people you're going to be speaking to. So you have to understand this stuff at an intimate level and have a deep understanding of it, because you're going to be speaking to that deep level within people. And when you speak to that identity that they fear they are becoming, or that this struggle is creating, forcing them to be, when you speak to that identity, then people will stop and pay attention. And then you're going to look at the transformation process. What specific insights or shifts helped you break through out of that struggle? What information, internal transformation happened for there to be external change? Who did you get to become in the process of overcoming this? Because the identity that's on the other side of the problem is what you're going to be promising to somebody struggling with that problem. You're going to be promising them something similar on the other side. You get to feel successful instead of being an imposter. You get to be a success. You get to be proud. You get to be respected. Like, these types of things are what's on the other side of the problem. So that transformation process. Then we're going to start looking at the pattern. What similar struggles do you notice that your clients talk about if you're dealing with clients? If you're not dealing with clients, if you're in groups that have the same problem as you, or you talk to your friends about it, what do you notice is the same, that's very similar in that group of people, or those people struggling with that thing? Also, tie it back to how you naturally help others. That purpose module that you did in module 1, look at how the way you overcame that specific struggle can be wired into how you help others. And then look at how people talk with you. Because as you get better and better at communicating this, you're going to notice people will start speaking to you differently. They'll start speaking to you as an expert if they're not already. They may already be speaking to you as an authority on that subject. So go through all that, journal all that, and then we're jumping into exercise 2, the pain archaeology dig, where we look at building the complete landscape of your ideal prospects. So answer all of these questions. The surface pain identification, list 5 to 10 surface level problems that your prospects face. What are they complaining about? What's the obvious symptom? What functional problems are they trying to solve? These are things like, for me, it's like, I can't get clients. I have conversations and can't seem to get sales. I put 10 pieces of content out a day, but my engagement levels go down, things like that. Then we're going to do the same thing with emotional pain, where for each of those surface pains, ask what would someone feel if they experience this? Because if you tie their pain into a feeling, it helps them recognize that you understand what they're talking about. They pull you into their circle of people who mean a lot to them because you're seeing them. You understand. It's a deep dig. When they experience that particular problem, what emotion does it create? What do they tell themselves when nobody is listening? What fears keep them awake at night or make them shake or make them worry? What frustrations do they carry but don't talk about? Things that they withhold because they don't want to be judged or they don't want to be seen differently or anything like that. And there's some examples there. Then we're going to go to identity pain discovery, which is the deepest level where the problem creates a meaning about who they are. So ask these questions about those particular feelings and pains and answer all of those out. This will be really insightful for you to have a deep understanding of what this creates inside people, and it will help you really identify who you are talking to and the things that are going on inside of them. I literally have people tell me, like, it's like you're inside my mind. You know exactly what I'm going through. And it's like, well, yes, because I'm very much in touch with what I've gone through. I've broken down all the symptoms. I understand it intimately. And it gives you instant expert authority, and then knowing the way out, the solution to that maze. They're no longer running around blind, hitting dead ends. So it's extremely powerful to go through this and write all that out. Then we're going to prioritize these. So for each pain point in your journal, create a column and title the pain point at the top of each column. And then for each of those pain points, ask these questions. How deeply does it connect with your own experience? How uniquely positioned are you to solve it? These 5 questions for each of those pains, and rate them. Give each one of these questions a score 1 through 10. 1 is the weakest and 10 is the most intense. Then you're going to add up all those scores. One of those is going to have the highest score. That's your main focus. You are the person that solves that problem. That's what your expertise is going to be in. That's what 90% of your messaging is going to be about, your content. The ones that score the next 1 to 2 highest, those are going to be supporting problems. They're going to be things that you're going to be able to stack on to the other problem because they're going to relate, but they're not super painful, but people going through them are going to want a solution. And when they find out you have the solution to this giant problem that is very much a creator of suffering, they're going to want to hear more about what you've got to say. And then anything with low scores is just background pain points that get honorary mentions here or there, but they're not emphasized. You're going to go for the big impact pain points that make the most difference, that you've got the best solution for. So get going on those exercises, and then once all of that is done, you're ready to jump into Model 2.